Marketing in 2025 is wild. Savvy customers spot fake messaging instantly, privacy changes make ad targeting a nightmare, and everyone needs more content than ever. That's why you have to check out HubSpot's new marketing trends report. It doesn't just show you what's changing, it shows you exactly how to deal with it. Everything's backed by research, but focused on marketing plays you can use tomorrow. You ready to turn marketing hurdles into results? Go to clickhubspot.com/marketing to download it for free. All right, good morning and happy Friday, everybody. Today's March 28th. I'm John Weigell here with Mark Dent, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. We're all hoping for some egg price drops in the near future, but it looks like we have a new potential supply issue to contend with today. Bananas are seemingly next on the inflation docket, but why is the U.S. fruit market bracing for rising banana prices, and how could you be affected by it? We'll chat about that in a little bit, but first, let's give you the news in business and tech. We're starting off with Google, and if you're getting ready for summer, Google has rolled out some new features, some using AI that are going to help plan your vacation this year. Gemini can now create trip itineraries through search, and Google Maps can access your photos to map out screenshots of desired locations. I hope everybody's excited to have the same vacation as everybody else this year. What do you think about this new group of features, Mark?
I think that's definitely a possibility. I mean, on one hand, it just seems like, well, they're just packaging a bunch of their stuff together.
Sure.
And they'll make it a little bit easier for everyone. But to me, when I hear itinerary and Google together, then it's just basically them doing the work of finding all the restaurants and all the stuff you'll go to and just pushing everyone in that same direction, I'm guessing, which is kind of what happens anyway with Yelp and with Google and everything as is. So
true. It seems like a good way to at least get a baseline of a trip, because I know that ChatGPT inquiries and AI inquiries about plan an itinerary for my vacation have been way up. So This is just another practical use that gives you a good baseline, but try to get off the beaten path, I feel like a little.
Totally. I feel like I read some advice about AI from a few months ago that I believe it was a college professor who used AI to formulate a letter of recommendation so that professor would know exactly what not to include in the letter of recommendation, so it wouldn't sound so cliche.
Oh, that's good.
So maybe if you build your itinerary on this, then you can know, okay, these are the places I need to skip because they're going to be packed.
These are the most basic locations I could possibly go to. Now I got to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
Next, over to Wall Street. Bonuses hit a record high in 2024, with the average payout totaling $244,700, which is about 4 times a typical U.S. worker's salary. The bonus pool swelled to $47.5 billion, driving the average banker's bonus up 30%, according to data from the New York Comptroller's Office. I can't wait to see what raises we see in 2025, baby. Over to some more AI news. OpenAI's new AI image generator technology is getting lots of hype on the internet right now, mostly in the form of Studio Ghibli-style generated photos of Elon Musk, Donald Trump, and Lord of the Rings. What a combo. The charming pictures in Spirited Away style, though, raise some copyright questions. An IP lawyer at the firm Neal and McDevitt claims these, along with other AI-generated images, are still in quite a legal gray area. From there, we go all the way to Dubai. If you have an extra $49 million laying around, a new penthouse listing just came up on the market. The tallest building in the world, the 2,722-foot tall Burj Khalifa in Dubai, is offering this unit, and Floyd Mayweather is on the list of potential buyers. So, Mark, are you going to be throwing your hat in the ring?
I won't be, but I think Floyd Mayweather is the only person who makes sense to be buying this, because when you talk about cash lying around, there's no one more famous for having cash lying around than Floyd Mayweather. About 10 years ago, there was this ESPN The Magazine profile about Mayweather, which had what I would argue is one of the most wildest bombshells in any profile of an athlete ever, where this ESPN reporter, Mayweather, told him that he has $123 million in a single bank account.
What?
Just a bank account, not, tied up in, a mutual fund or stocks or whatever.
Just sitting.
Keep in mind the FDIC insures something like, I don't remember, 200,000, maybe 300,000. So taking a big risk, but hopefully it's all still there. And he's got the 49 million ready to go, if that's the case.
Wow. Yeah, he could take it right out of there. I hope he got a good APY percentage on that one.
Yeah.
And finally, in some more sports-related stuff, how about them Mets? The New York Mets made $261 million in revenue at Citi Field in 2024, which is a record high. Admissions made up the bulk of the revenue at $137 million, followed by $53 million from advertising and $25 million from concessions. That is a lot of hot dogs. Mark, what do you make of this stadium income for the Mets?
Well, Citi Field has really good concessions.
It does.
I've been there just for one game, but they had so many great choices.
Food's great.
So, props to them on that. But yeah, this was really interesting. Like, it's hard to really see behind the curtain for what a lot of sports facilities bring in and what a lot of sports teams bring in. Forbes has its rankings every year, but their numbers aren't always, I don't know, I think in some ways a little bit suspect. For instance, CNBC says these revenue numbers show up as being around several percent higher than what was reported in Forbes. But it's all because Citi Field is publicly owned.
Yeah.
So therefore, you can just do a little public information request and they got it. And now we know a little more about baseball. Nothing wrong with that.
That's right. On the first day of the season, no less. Look at that.
Right, exactly.
So, if you're listening to this podcast, you are more than likely thinking about business ideas. Every entrepreneur has a million ideas vying for attention in their brain, and there's probably that one idea you can't stop thinking about. The one that came to you at 2 a.m. that you got up and wrote down somewhere. Well, I'm here to tell you that idea could be worth $5,000 right now. The Hustle and Indie Hackers are teaming up to find the next great founder and get them started with $5,000. All you got to do is record a 60-second video pitch telling us your business idea, how it makes money, and why it's awesome. One winner gets $5,000 cash plus promotion to millions of Hustle readers. Make sure you enter by April 4th at thehustle.co/bigbreak. That's thehustle.co/bigbreak. You can also click the link in the show notes of this episode. The winner will be announced on April 11th right here on the Hustle Daily Show, the Hustle newsletter, and on the Hustle's social accounts. Now get to pitching.
Okay, on to the main story today. Egg prices haven't gotten much better in the past month, but it looks like we're in for another inflation romp over here with bananas. Mark, can you care to explain what's going on in the banana market right now?
Yeah, so this isn't one of those huge warnings about tariffs, or at least a standard tariff impacting bananas, although that could happen depending on what President Trump kind of rolls out with reciprocal tariffs in the next week, like he says he's going to do. Mm-hmm. But this is about a kind of tax that would go on Chinese-built cargo ships. And it's just proposed, so it hasn't yet. It's basically a port fee that goes on a particular ship that's built in China, according to courts. And it so happens that Dole has quite a few ships that would fit under this bill. And Dole, of course, is a huge producer of bananas.
Yeah, these giant shipments, of course, need to happen for all these bananas to come over because there's no real banana growing potential in the U.S. to be able to feed the entire market. So obviously we need imports to come in from places like Costa Rica. So how many ships do they have and how many of them are made in China? I would love to know.
Well, yeah, according to courts, Dole has 13 of these ships, which are like, refrigerated ships. Pretty nice stuff, including 4 that are built in China. So that's why you would potentially see the increase. One thing that I think is worth mentioning, though, is that bananas have actually stayed pretty affordable compared to the rest of produce.
They have.
I just checked this afternoon, and the Federal Reserve had the average banana price per pound at like 62 cents, which is about the same as it was last year, a couple cents lower than it was 2 or 3 years ago. And if you look at inflation, this era of inflation that we've been in, banana prices really only went up like a little bit less than 10%. Whereas if you look at apples and oranges, they went up 20% or more, and they cost like $1.30, $1.50 a pound. So
yeah, bananas are consistently one of the most dependable fruits, especially through inflation. I remember the story that ran just maybe about half a year ago that Trader Joe's, for the first time in their 20-year history, increased the price of bananas from 19 cents per banana to 23 cents per banana. And that's over 20 years of selling bananas. So they really, really maintain. So this could be a big hit if bananas, which is mostly seen as the most affordable fruit, becomes a little more expensive.
So according to ABC News, Americans consume 27 pounds of bananas per year on average. So, I mean, man, that's a lot of bananas.
It's a ton of bananas.
I actually don't eat any. I don't like bananas. So I bring that average way down.
Bring that average down.
Yeah,
right. You
exactly.
really do. I'm like a 2 a week, maybe kind of person. I get them. I get them frequently.
Yeah, for sure. So, this could be one of those things where, let's assume the cost of bananas do go up, 20% or something like that. You'd still just be talking about, a 75 cent per pound banana or something instead of 62, which isn't that bad. But what will be interesting to see if these price hikes do happen is whether consumers react to it the same way they did eggs. I mean, 75 cents is still not as much as, $4 or $5 like we've seen for eggs, but it would nevertheless be a situation in which something that you've depended on as being one of the cheapest things in the store, the cheapest source of protein in the case of eggs and near the cheapest fruit in the case of bananas, and now seeing that go up.
Right.
So even though it still might not be that expensive overall, I think it could still cause a lot of headaches.
Right. It's a percentage problem, right? I mean, the amount isn't the most, but it is quite a bit higher percentage than it was previously. With eggs, there really hasn't been any sign of relief yet. There were some reports that March would be the month, which we're in, and it is currently ending.
Yeah, almost over.
There would be some relief, but I guess there just hasn't been for that either. So we're still waiting on the eggs. So it would be nice if we could deal with one inflation at the grocery store at a time, but that's just not reality, I guess.
Yeah, just keep it in one aisle, like the inflation aisle or something like that.
The inflated products.
Yeah, and then everything else is fine. That would be a much better world to live in.
Yeah, right. All right, and that's going to do it for us today. Thanks for tuning in to the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of HubSpot Media. Our editor is Robert Hartwig. Our executive producer is Darren Clark. We have a ton more stories in our newsletter. If you're not subscribed, go sign up at thehustle.co/email and follow us on Instagram at Hustle Daily. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you Monday.
Hey, everybody. I've been listening to this awesome podcast lately. You know it. You love it. My First Million, hosted by Sam Parr and Sean Puri, is brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. My First Million features famous guests like Alex Hormozi, Sophia Amoruso, and Hassan Minhaj, sharing their secrets on how they made their first $1 million and how to apply their learnings to capitalize on today's business trends and opportunities. Talk about somebody that's really in the now. They had on Mr. Beast recently, and Mr. Beast talked about his origin story and how he made his first $1 million and how you can make anything go viral if you really try to do it, which is a great listen. So I would definitely recommend checking it out. You can catch all the recent episodes whenever you want, and you can listen to My First Million wherever you get your podcasts.